Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. My name is Natalia Moczulska and this is the news. 203 days of war in Ukraine. For the first time since the beginning of the invasion, the Kremlin admitted its defeat on the battlefield. The Kiev authorities report that since September 6th, Ukrainian forces in the Kharkiv region have liberated more than 300 towns, inhabited by about 150,000 people. The numerous successes of the Ukrainian counteroffensive bring the prospect of an end to the war closer. However, Kiev believes that even after the conflict has ended successfully, Ukraine will still be an easy target for potential aggressors. We are creating a system that guarantees Ukraine's military security. This will be possible under the upcoming treaties. We are working to ensure that the most powerful entities in the free world become jointly responsible for our security. The most important thing is to define the legal steps that oblige both parties to act in a concrete and timely manner. This will cool down all hostile intentions of our enemies. Ukrainian forces effectively prevent Russian troops from repairing the Kharkiv bridge over the Dnieper River. Ukrainian soldiers destroyed another Russian pontoon crossing near the town of Darivka. Kiev is disappointed with Berlin's sluggish attitude in delivering announced military supplies. Disappointing signals from Germany, while Ukraine needs leopards and martyrs now to liberate people and save them from genocide. Not a single rational argument on why these weapons cannot be supplied, only abstract fears and excuses. What is Berlin afraid of that Kiev is not? In Balaklia, after the expulsion of Russian forces, aid was provided to the injured civilians. Yesterday, local authorities reported that people were tortured and detained in the city. During the conflict, Russian forces have repeatedly broken international law, and this time the Russian army has violated the provisions of the Declaration of Human Rights. The Russians stripped my husband down to his underwear. This was how they exposed the men here in the street. They looked for scars and tattoos because they wanted to check if anyone served in the army. Even if they did not find proof, they took these people. They led me to a prison cell and electrocuted me. They wanted to make me report my friends. The European Union is responding decisively to the numerous war crimes committed by the Russian army against the Ukrainian civilian population. The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, said that the Russian financial sector, under the pressure of sanctions, is barely panting, and admitted that Central and Eastern European countries, including Poland, had been warning about Vladimir Putin's intentions for years.
And I stand here with the conviction that with the necessary courage and with the necessary solidarity, Putin will fail, remain unshakable. From day one on, Europe has stood at Ukraine's side with weapons, with funds, with hospitalities for refugees, and with the toughest sanctions the world has ever seen.
For the first time since the beginning of the invasion of Ukraine, the Kremlin admitted to its military defeat. Moscow is trying to clear Putin of responsibility for the failures in the Kharkiv region. Meanwhile, in Russia, there are more and more voices criticizing the highest authorities. Last week, a group of deputies from the St. Petersburg Council called on the State Duma to charge Vladimir Putin with high treason. The main goal of the authorities at the moment is to show that the members of the council have been punished, but on the other hand, they do not want to give our case too much publicity. The West is also responding to the reports of the growing number of political opponents of Vladimir Putin.
Say before it started, calls it a special military operation. It's a war. And he hasn't been honest with his own people about what he's doing there, why he's doing it, and what he's doing it with. And he certainly hasn't been honest with the Russian people about the struggles that the Russian military have had in the conduct of this war, to include casualties and losses of equipment and systems.
Russian troops are withdrawing from the Kharkiv region. According to the data of the General Staff of Ukraine, during the retreat, the Russians steal private cars and rob the residents' property. However, according to experts, it is too early to be happy about the successes at the moment. It is not that the Russians gave up further defense. This is only an operational success, but strategically they are still able to defend themselves effectively. The Ukrainian media reported that representatives of the Kremlin have approached the Ukrainian authorities with a proposal to start negotiations. However, Kiev is not ready for this, and talks may only be resumed once the assumed military goals have been achieved. The Sejm passed a bill on reparations from Germany for losses as a result of the 1939 till 1945 invasion and occupation. 418 deputies voted in favor, 4 voted against, and 15 abstained. The text reads that the duly represented Polish state has never waived its claims against the German state. Arkadiusz Mularczyk, MP, presented a report on the work of the same Foreign Affairs Committee. Today, we are focusing on a draft resolution that will give the Polish government a mandate to undertake political and diplomatic activities. The document does not supplement the resolution adopted in 2004, but is to serve as another tool for making claims for damages. With regard to people, the atrocities of the German occupation concerned various forms of enslavement, forced labor, child robbery, mutilation, rape, murder, and annihilation of children, women, and men, citizens of the Republic of Poland, as well as covering up the traces of genocide and war crimes. The document emphasizes that the Republic of Poland has never received compensation for personal and material losses caused by the German state. The same of the Republic of Poland declares that the duly represented Polish state has never waived its claims against the German state. There is no moral or legal basis for claiming that these claims have been legally withdrawn or time-barred. The harm to millions of Poles will scream until it is justly repaired. Separate proposals have been submitted by the Polish coalition PSL and Civic Platform. The People's Party does not reject the resolution authored by the Law and Justice Party, but expects a timetable for diplomatic action to be presented. It should not be forgotten that the issue of settling these reparations depends solely on the will and decision of the German state. We must influence this state, its government. In turn, the Civic Platform, which has changed its position on the claims for reparations in recent weeks, now wants to include claims against Russia in the document. Our proposal includes that part of the reparations from Germany, which the Soviet Union owed us and did not pay. According to government representatives, the Civic Platform Act would delay the entire process of applying for reparations. As Deputy Foreign Minister Szymon Szynkowski-Welsenk indicates, only the political unity of all parties will bring the expected results. This will provide another powerful tool for the Polish government in the process of pursuing claims in the reparation process. Currently, the government is preparing a special diplomatic note to Germany demanding reparations. We will, of course, run a propaganda campaign not only in Germany, but also in Europe and all over the world. We will make this into something that should give the Germans food for thought and make them at some point enter discussions. In the report on war losses, which was published on September 1st, it was estimated that the damage suffered by Poland as a result of aggression and German occupation amounted to over 6 billion zloty. In the times of the Polish People's Republic, it was impossible to try for it. The Third Republic of Poland was also difficult. Such a team that cares has emerged. This has to be appreciated. But the matter has to be brought to a conclusion. A political statement is important. A 3-volume report is important. There's a lot of facts, enormous knowledge. The report was translated into several languages and sent to the German embassy. In the relations of the 21st century, where we are building a world of values, democracy, justice, respect, reparations are also an opportunity for Germany to settle accounts with the heritage of World War II in a material and real way, and close the matter of World War II once and for all. Similar demands for reparation against Germany are made by Greece, while last year Germany decided to pay compensation to Namibia for the crimes committed in 1904 to 1907. Earlier today, King Charles III, his sons Prince William and Prince Harry, as well as other senior royals, joined a solemn procession to take Queen Elizabeth's coffin from Buckingham Palace to Parliament, as artillery guns fired salutes and Big Ben tolled. Huge crowds gathered in central London to witness the latest in a series of poignant ceremonies, as the nation mourns the monarch who died last week, aged 96, after 7 decades on the throne. Lying on a gun carriage covered by the royal standard flag and with the imperial state crown placed on a cushion on top, alongside a wreath of flowers, the coffin bearing Elizabeth's body began a slow, somber procession from her palace home to Westminster Hall, where it will lie in state for 4 days. Walking directly behind were Charles and his siblings, Anne, Andrew, and Edward. Behind them followed Charles's sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. When the procession reached Westminster Hall, the coffin was carried inside by soldiers from the Grenadier Guards and placed on a catafalque. Then, a short service commenced and was conducted by the Archbishop of Canterbury, the spiritual head of the Anglican Church. The funeral is scheduled for September 19th. And finally, Dutch technology students devise a carbon-eating electric vehicle. The sporty all-electric car from the Netherlands resembles a BMW coupe, but is unique. It captures more carbon than it emits.
As far as we know, this behind me is the world's most sustainable car at the moment. It's called ZEM, and ZEM stands for Zero Emission Mobility. This car was made with the goal to minimize the CO2 emitted during the manufacturing phase, the life phase, and the end-of-life phase. The slogan or the main phrase, catchphrase with this car is it captures more carbon than it emits. In the front, it has two carbon filters, which filter literally the air while you drive along, capturing the carbon which get trapped in the filters.
Called ZEM for Zero Emission Mobility, the two-seater vehicle houses a Cleantron lithium-ion battery pack, and 80% of its parts are 3D printed from recycled plastics. ZEM uses two filters that can capture up to 2 kilograms, or 4.41 pounds of CO2, over 20,000 miles of driving, the Eindhoven team estimated. They imagine a future when filters can be emptied at charging stations.
Our team is called TU Automotive. We've existed now for 10 years. And our team is about shaping the future of mobility. And of course we want to do it in a sustainable way. Our end goal is to create a more sustainable future, and we're doing it in the field of automotive mobility. So this is actually our 7th car we've produced as a team. Our main goal is to create the future of mobility in a sustainable way, of course.
Battery electric vehicles emit virtually no CO2 during operation compared with combustion engine vehicles, but battery cell production can create so much pollution that it can take EVs tens of thousands of miles to achieve carbon parity with comparable fossil-fueled models.
The final goal is to actually inspire the industry. We want to see our car hopefully completely be adopted by the industry. The dream goal is, of course, to see it being produced. If some car manufacturer sees this and wants to produce it, we're all in for it, of course. But a more realistic perspective is that they adopt certain technologies and innovations we've implemented. So we are now the spearhead of, for example, 3D printing in the automotive industry, and we're using. We've adapted the already existing technology of carbon capturing and implemented in a car.
The students are currently showing their vehicle on a U.S. promotional tour to universities and companies from the East Coast to Silicon Valley. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please stay tuned for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and some of our other programs. But for me, it's have a wonderful evening.